Of course, he was not faithful, which led to unnecessary drama and beef. It's because of the grace of Ahayaba Shem Yeshaya I was kept out of danger. I remember when I was around 17, I know I was not grown. My ex Jay and I boarded a plane and we flew to San Francisco, California. I told my parents I was going to Cedar Point for senior weekend. No permission slips for them to sign. I don't even think Cedar Point was open at the time. That was the most scariest fun adventure I have ever had. I almost died. We flew to San Francisco because my ex's brother gave him a car. His brother was stationed in San Francisco. I have never seen the western side of this country before this time, and after that trip, I will have no fear in the future of traveling. I will go anywhere. To make a long story short, we ended up leaving in the car on the way back home to Ohio. This was before GPS, so it was just him, me, and a map of the country on the open road. We started out going across the country towards the top through the mountains. To make a long story short, we arrived in Nevada, but we did not know we had to buy chains to strap on all four tires and drive at 35 miles per hour. We did not know anything about the mountains and driving in those conditions. Before we figured this out, we slid out of control at least three times, and one of those times we almost slid off the side of a mountain. I thank God he was keeping me because I'm telling you, I could have been dead. I deserved to go over that cliff and die. I disobeyed my parents and I was all the way on the other side of the country. Thank God he does not always give us what we deserve. Eventually, we brought the chains to strap on our tires. We drove for a while but had to turn around and go back the other way, back towards California due to a semi crash. I believe that was the Lord saving me yet again. We made it back to California. We went through Oakland and continued down into California, crossing into Arizona. The next day, we headed down to Arizona, bypassing Vegas. I always thought Route 66 was just the label of a gene, but I found out Route 66 is actually real. I felt like I was being watched. I didn't know how or why, but I knew as we drove across Route 66 we were being watched. We did get pulled over too, and the cops kept trying to get us to say that we had drugs on us, but we didn't have any drugs on us. They were so pissed that we didn't have any drugs. It had taken us 3 days to get back to Ohio. I would never have thought I would never have thought that some of the cities that I have partied in and the city I am from, Toledo, were on the same map. Wasn't too long after Jay got his car that we were over, which was probably because he was going up to Detroit to be a whore. I was learning a lesson on friends too because it was at this point Al started hanging out with Jay and his friends who I was not cool with. I was not cool one with Justin's friends because he was sleeping with one of them, and of course his friends didn't like me. I do remember one time Karma got his ass back. He had been cheating on me with some guy up in Detroit, and Jay was the one bottoming, taking the D. Well, we were all at the post one night, and the guy who he was cheating on me with showed up in drag. The guy that was topping, giving the D, Jay, never told Jay that he did drag. At first, Jay didn't recognize Juana Man, his nickname when he got in drag. When he did notice Juana Man, she just waved, smiled, and said hi. Jay gagged so hard. That shit was so funny. I will never forget that. By this time, Al stopped hanging out with D and I to hang out with another group. Al denies this, but he did, which is no problem. But this is how D and I became so close. D and I would still go to Detroit to go out, and we would all still see each other, but it was a lot of shade and tension. This was around the time I had started taking trips on my own secretly because I didn't want to pay for nobody when I went to Indiana or Chicago. One time I went to Chicago and I met this handsome boy by the name of Dez. He had a beautiful smile and he was a dancer like me. So I was really into him. I hope he is doing okay today. He told me that his mom would not be home, and she wasn't, but baby, she walked in on us sleeping that next morning. From what I can remember, she was so shocked. It's funny, but she would have had to be there. She had not accepted the fact that he was gay, so she was questioning him and me. What was funny is how we both tried to lie to her, saying we had known each other for a while and how we were just hanging out, but no, ma'am, she was not buying it. She handled it pretty well from what I can remember. I could tell she was a good mom because Dez was a good dude from what I remember. I did not know how dangerous Chicago was slash is at the time, so I thank God nothing happened to me. I was young and moving dumb, just doing stuff. As far as me seriously liking a guy, there was only one, and his name is W. He's from Detroit. A cancer like me, very handsome, intelligent. He had braids and braces at the time. He was goals, but we lost contact. Damn. I moved back in with my dad after my mom ditched me to go be with her wife, but I was now closer to D, so we would see each other every day. We were always doing something, but at the time, I never noticed how it was always me basically providing the way. I was always driving him around, with him not giving me gas. When we went out, I would pay our way in. Sometimes he would get himself in if he knew someone at the door, but I would have to pay my own way, or if I knew someone, I would get in for free. There were times when I would meet dudes that liked me. It was, you have to look out for me and my friend type deal with me. I never noticed how he never did any of that for us. He would get jealous of me when he would be trying hard as hell to get a dude's attention that I wasn't even paying attention to, that would end up walking up to me trying to holler at me. If I had known then what I know today, I would have cut D off a long time ago. I don't resent the experience because it made me who I am today, but I would not have invested so much time and energy into him. He is one of those types of people who require a lot of attention, but he does not give that in return. We had good times. Actually, we had great times. I just outgrew him way before I followed him to Barton College because he literally begged me to come. Something he would never admit, but even Al told him that. So basically, I am at the point of graduating and going to college. I really didn't skip a lot because there really is not that much to tell. I don't have too many wild stories. I never been to a bathhouse or an orgy, and I didn't do drugs. One time, I met this guy named Doozy at the park around the time I was 17. He sucked me up in the middle of, he sucked me up in the car, and the police had walked up on us, but they let us go. I was scared because I had lied about my age. I could have gotten caught, and then the police would want to know why am I underage up in Detroit at a gay park. Then I would have had to call my parents who did not know I was even in Detroit. Once again, thank God he was with me. Later on, I would see that he did get fired from his job. I think he was a janitor for public school for having sex with one of the students. I met a few other guys. One was a baller, meaning he was paid, but I never been the gold digging type. Money, clothes, jewelry, and cars don't impress me because I grew up around it, but luckily he was very charming. This is why I had no interest in messing with guys that would try me on the DL when I was at school because I had a few grown men looking out for me. I never messed around with any of the dudes from the local street gangs in Toledo either. I never really was into DL dudes or hood dudes that I assumed had no future, and for the most part, I was right. Believe it or not, this is why I was respected in the hood growing up. Nobody bothered me. Some of those guys, in parentheses, who were not insecure and had nothing to hide, knew I wasn't trying to do anything with them. Oh, but there was a few who tried me sexually, and I denied they ass. They was shocked as hell too. Not all gay men are the same. One did give me hell. I mean, this boy did the most. I was at my locker and he walked by and said, "When are you going to let me make a man out of you?" And I said, "I am a man." And he said, "But one day you're going to be my bitch." He allegedly raped another gay dude in Toledo who is now deceased. He tried to rape me as well, and baby, that ain't no allegedly. I just didn't say nothing because I fought his ass off when he tried me in the gas station parking lot on Upton and Monroe. Today, he is no longer here on earth. Now, my former best friend D loves him some DL thug dudes. So bad to the point where he will get on the chat line and pose as a girl. He will talk in a girl voice and home. He would get these dudes to come to his home, and then when they would get there, he would boom them, as he called it. The boom was he had a text message already prepared telling the dude how he was really a dude just trying to suck some D with no strings attached. The majority would turn him down, but some did actually go through with it. I've never been this type, which is why they would always call me scary, stuck up, or bougie. I am not stuck up or bougie. It's just some shit I won't do. Yes, baby, I will be scared slash boring because that is too dangerous and I'm not pressed. I always prayed for this fool that nothing bad would ever happen to him doing stuff like this. Years later, he would admit to me that he was doing coke for years even before we went to school. I was so gagged, talking about a cluster pearls moment. Oh, yeah, I did want to mention that during high school, I got my first job ever working for Taco Hell for a while. It is still standing today. It sits right across from where the old Jones Junior High was. But yes, Taco Hell was my first job. I graduated in June of 2005 with 104 other individuals. Yes, go ahead and laugh. Over 1,500 freshmen dwindled down to 105. Just keep in mind, the school that I went to was the school where where the kids from at least 3 to 4 different housing projects was supposed to go. Also, we had poor white trash and the Hispanics too. So the dropout rate was extreme compared to other schools like Rogers or Scott. Like I said, none of the schools that I went to are standing today. I barely graduated. I had missed so much school as a result of me hanging out with my guy in Detroit at the time. I had no real plans after school. I was going to set out to become a dancer. I always wanted to dance for Janet Jackson or Beyonce. I had got close one time, but I was underage and my dad would not give his permission for me to do work. I was really talented. My dad stopped a few opportunities that I had as far as dance was concerned. He was even against me dancing for the House of Adonis, so he never really showed any support. He did buy me that car I mentioned a while back that he got from a police auction for $125. After I graduated, I started living with my mom and her wife. I attended Owens Community College where I majored in dance. The only thing I regret about going to college is that I wish someone would have told me that college is only good for you if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something that's serious dealing with business, even. Yes, I wish someone would have told me, "Baby, a dance degree sounds very nice, but I think you should go for something that you can make some money off of." I did do a few auditions, and I was good too. I even landed a few gigs, but overall, I was not willing to win at all costs by sleeping with whoever to get wherever in Hollywood. I was finally free at 18. Believe me, all I had heard from my dad growing up was, "I owe you until you 18." Well, okay, cool, Pops, I always thought. I know you won't feel that way when you get old and can't move around like you used to. Just remember that when you call me and I say, you owed me till I was 18. Well, I is free, sir. Parents need to be careful what they say to their kids. You might just end up alone one day. Anyway, I am free, and now it was time for a wardrobe change. I had always seen the guest store in Franklin Park Mall. I loved the clothes at first sight. I was used to wearing baggy jeans and shirts. The first time I put on some Guess jeans and shirt, I fell in love with the brand. I always knew that the way I wanted to dress would give me away, so I waited until I was 18 to buy clothes I wanted and dress how I wanted to dress. Now you are probably thinking, oh Lord, he wants to do drag. No, it's not like that at all. Okay. What I'm trying to say is today it is acceptable to wear skinny or more form-fitting jeans, but back when I was coming up, it wasn't as accepted. Neither was the wearing holes in your jeans, destroy jeans. I'm going to share a few pictures to show what I'm speaking about. These are very recent pictures of me, 2022, 2023. See, I be clean. I don't care what people think about the way I dress today because these comedians, actors, rappers, and professional athlete dudes are out here wearing whole dresses in our face and purses too. What I don't like about some heterosexual men is how they would clown a guy like me for the way I dress, but they turn a blind eye to their favorite athlete or rapper wearing purses and dresses. They also turn a blind eye when they see rappers and sports athletes kissing. But yes, this has always been my style. And like I said, I don't wear makeup, I don't paint my nails, nor do I rock purses or girl clothes. The reason I love my style is because I feel like I developed it on my own. I know I am no fashion guru, and I'm not trying to be. I take pride in the fact that I never been up on the latest fashion trends like those big dumbass red boots because I believe I am the trend. A lot of people, especially in the gay community, focus on the high price labels as some type of proof that they are better than others who don't dress like them. Most people with that type of mindset are followers, and some of them are even financially broke as a result of them trying to keep up with the Jones. What's funny to me is how people with this type of mindset never take into consideration that maybe the person that they are making fun of might not even like those types of clothing. They might even have a legitimate reason for not liking the high price fashion labels. Besides, like I said, a lot of these high end fashion labels do not like black people and then go even further to mock us. I always say when you have good looks, you definitely don't have to go broke trying to look good. I do wear my fringes sometimes, but not all the time. At this time, I was working at Guess in Franklin Park Mall while I attended college. I loved the job because I was working for my favorite clothing brand. I didn't make much money, but I was happy with the job. It's not like I was getting any other jobs that could really benefit me. D had left on a full track scholarship to Barton County Community College, so I was by myself at this point. I wasn't really doing much, just doing auditions when I could. I ended up landing a job teaching hip hop at a dance studio in Toledo. I was still going out to Detroit, but I wasn't dating anyone seriously at the time. I remember D calling me from time to time, telling me how bored he was and how he had wanted me to apply for Barton. He said they were looking for hip hop dancers to help with their nationals dance team. I did apply to the school. I auditioned for their dance team and I was accepted. This was around 2006, 2007. My dad volunteered to take me down to Kansas which was just a way for him to be nosy. He didn't even believe I was going at first. He thought I was lying. I was rooming with the guy that D introduced me to named G. G is the type to act masculine in order to have sex with you, but after he has sex, he starts to show his true side, which is very feminine. He loved to have jack sessions, but we never did any penetration. He was very funny and would try to compete with me when I cooked. My college years were fun, especially my second semester because I drove back to school with the car my dad had brought for me. This was the car where the brakes fell off while I was driving through St. Louis. Once again, it was me using my resources to carry us to and from school and down to Dallas, Texas, the few times that we went. We would also go to Wichita, Kansas to party all the time. We went to college in the middle of nowhere. It was very boring. This was why I let my hair grow out because there were no black barbers nor any black beauty supply stores. I did hook up with two guys, but it didn't go anywhere because I knew my life would damn sure not be in Kansas for too long. Baby, you want to talk about boring? Kansas is boring. DJ Play Monica's Gotta Move On, a personal theme song of mine. Love you, Monica. It was in my college years that I would start drinking, but like I said, I never been a real drinker. I've always been more of a sipper. I started smoking weed during this time too, and the weed did stick. There was one time when we got caught smoking in the dorms, which would be the reason we moved off campus the next year. During this time, I was also taking ecstasy pills every now and then. The effects of an X pill reminds me of the movie Catwoman with Halle Berry. The pill turns you into a whole other person. The pill makes you do and say things you wouldn't normally say and do. If you are shy, you will be more outgoing. At least that's what it did for me. Once again, it was always me supplying the weed and buying the pills, which a pill was only $10, but still. One time, D, this dude we called Junior, not you, David, and me were on our way up to Detroit, but I had popped the E-pill. The pill hit me so hard that I felt like I was on a roller coaster as we were going over a bridge. I couldn't even believe D drove that time because I always had to drive. That's why I didn't drink. When you go to Detroit from Toledo taking I-75, there's this big bridge that you have to go over. And that is the bridge I was talking about. Baby, I was rolling. Okay? I was lying in the back seat. So if you passed by the car, you would only think it was D and Junior in the car. I was screaming like I was on a damn roller coaster, and D was so pissed, but it was so funny. So he started cracking up. Keep in mind, I'm always the one looking out for everyone, so this must have been my night, but I was feeling great. I don't know how long I must have been in that back seat screaming for, but I remember Daryl screaming, "Bitch, where the fuck is we at?" I sat up instantly, looked around, and said, "Oh, bitch, we here." When I tell you we all busted out laughing, even Junior was weak. I remember how I was so confident and definitely wasn't acting shy. The pill definitely brings out your other personality. I haven't taken a pill since 08, 09. I never liked the crash after. And let me see this. Pics one I had here. That was the top pictures of me in Kansas. These is all from the time I was in school. I was a little faded right there, but fine. DJ Play Monica's Gotta Move On, a personal theme song of mine. Love you, Monica. Actually, play that whole CD. Man, play that whole CD. The Makings of Me. She sings this one song called Getaway. that I definitely resonate with, because Savage has his needs and who's going to look out for me? I found that answer to be the Most High. Life is not easy, and people, places, and things can drain me of my energy, so I have to learn to get away. I want to thank Monica, Missy Elliott, and Tweet. Tweet, I love you, girl. You just don't even know how you touch me. Beautiful, Taxi, Smoking Cigarettes, My Place. Actually, that whole first and second album. But You, I'm Done, and Heaven, Baby, Shaking My Head, in that order, too. Janet Jackson, that's all I need to say. Demita Joe.